Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Girl Chat Sports with Mel because Mo is on her way. She should be joining us somewhere throughout the show tonight. So I will be womaning it down for y'all. It's funny because, I've been in Belize for on vacation. I got in late last night. I've gone to work and I'm ready for the podcast. But I know it's holiday season. Mo's been super busy at Nordstrom. So if you guys are still shopping, make sure to go check out Mo. She is very busy. But again, she should be with us soon. Until then, we'll get to some hot topics. We'll get into this COVID craziness that's happening throughout sports right now. And we'll get to some other hot topics in regards to Las Vegas. And there'll finally be a winning team here, let's say in 2024. So be ready for that news too. Before we get started, I just wanted to make sure everybody was subscribing to us on YouTube at Girl Chat Sports. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also you're welcome to join the Facebook group for Girl Chat Sports. But without further ado, I want to get our guest on. He has minimal time. And I have so much that I want to ask him and have him share with you guys, of course. So please welcome to the show at Girl Chat Sports, Mr. Scott Reiss. Scott, hello. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm good.
It's nice that we finally get a guest on the West Coast because sometimes it's kind of like we're trying to feed people coffee, get them to wake up. Like I know it's 10 o'clock out there, but we're still out here at 7 o'clock. But you're a West Coast guy. You've kind of made a full circle in your career, but please let kind of our audience know your background and how you got started. Then we'll kind of get into this best-selling authorness in your book.
I have been doing sports TV and now radio for a long time, about 25 years. I started my sports TV career in Panama City, Florida. I moved to Utica, New York. So I sort of crisscrossed the map, right? I was in LA growing up, and then I hopped on I-10. I went east about 2,000 miles. I got off at Panama City, and that was the first gig. And then I went north to Utica. Then I got a job back in California in Santa Maria, right in the middle of the state. So I was working in that beautiful Central Coast market that includes Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo and some great places.
Nice.
From there, the big break, ESPN. I was an anchor in Bristol for 8 years. Then I parlayed that into getting back to California to start up the Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area studio operation back in 2009. And I hosted their nightly studio show, and I hosted Giants and A's pre- and post-game shows and Sharks pre- and post-game and Warriors and whatever else they had. From there, I got a gig doing play-by-play for my alma mater, Stanford University, as the football and basketball play-by-play broadcaster. So I've been doing that for the last 9 years. And during that time, I also worked at the local Fox here, KTVU. So that's kind of the snapshot. And then I wrote a book.
And then you wrote a book. And I kind of read the beginning of the book to where you were kind of explaining how the book came about. And of course, all of us understand like hanging out with dinners and bars and you're conversating with friends over cocktails or whatnot. And so the stories always come out through conversation. And kind of give us a background as to how this book came about, because you are the best-selling author of When They Were Then Sportscasters. So it's the story and basically the rundown of what it takes or what it took for some of these 15 of some of America's most popular sports broadcasters and what it took for them to get into the high ranks.
So the backstory is kind of what you alluded to. I'm a writer, right? I mean, all the folks at ESPN, that's I think the one of the calling cards of all the anchors there across the board is we write our own stuff, and I'm not sure a lot of people realize that they don't have writers. They're not feeding you this stuff. When the guys are on camera and they're reading, they wrote those, and so I think that's part of what makes ESPN anchors unique. I think that's part of what they look for in the hiring process is people who are good writers. So it's always been something that is important to me, storytelling and that sort of thing. And, over the years, I thought, man, it would be fun to write a book, but, nobody's going to want to read 160 pages about me. I was in a bar one night with a friend of mine who was actually trying to break into the TV business. And I was giving her advice, and she was asking me about, some of the stories from the early days of my career. And I'm, regaling her with just the ridiculousness of small market television and my stories at Panama City and Utica and what goes on and who you've got to deal with and how much you get paid or don't get paid and everything else. And she's eating this up, and she said, "You really should write a book." And I'm like, "Yeah, I would love to, but and again, I don't know that I have enough in my life that's going to be of interest to the masses." And she sort of threw out kind of an off-the-cuff comment about, well, your friends probably have the same stories, right? I mean, there's a lot there, and I thought that's actually brilliant, because if you take anybody who is at ESPN or Fox Sports or MLB Network, they've all come up through the ranks. They all probably have the same ridiculous stories that I do that would be really entertaining. And if you got a bunch of people to contribute one chapter each, you'd have sort of an anthology, and it would be a really fun book and a great read. And so that was about 5 years ago, and it took me the better part of those 5 years to actually bring this up to a publisher who was interested in running with it. But when I found that, he was completely jazzed about it. He said, "That's great. Who can we get?" And I started to think, all right, well, I was either friends or at least acquaintances with every anchor at ESPN a decade ago. A lot of those guys are still there. Some of them I still talk to. So I just started reaching out, and the response was unbelievable. It was really phenomenal how much people loved the idea and were willing to basically donate their time and effort and their stories and say, "Yeah, I want to be a part of this." And it just kind of grew from there.
And not to mention they're already, used to writing and writing stories. So I'm sure it wasn't like it was trying to like pull teeth with people, because I mean, easily they're able to get that started. But what's that conversation like when you're reaching out to them, being like, "Okay, so I've got this idea, what are you saying to these guys and ladies?"
No, and it's funny because the conversation, it didn't take much, and look, there were some guys, I mean, some of the people in the book, maybe, Steve Bunin, not one of the more well-known relative to the Van Pelts and the Kenny Maynes and whatnot, but he was one of my closest friends at ESPN. So I sort of started with my close circle. And then at some point it became, well, maybe we should reach for, the stars a little bit. You want to, make this perhaps more mainstream and more widespread appeal. Who can we get, of the bigger names? And that's when I started contacting Scott Van Pelt and Trey Wingo and John Buccigross, guys who I was friendly with, but not BFFs by any stretch. But you ask about the conversation and the response, and I guess my point is, it was incredible that I called these guys. I hadn't talked to them in 10 years, and I could barely get 30 seconds out, and they're like, "I love it. I'm in. Boom. What do you need me to do?" And I'm like, I was all, I had the hard sell. I was, well, we can do this and it'll be this. And I didn't need it. I mean, it was really amazing how much they loved the idea. They were all in, and the idea that they were writing it themselves, because as you mentioned, these are all writers. It's what they do. And I think that was really appealing to folks. And for me, it was the best of all worlds, because I didn't have to write a 169-page book, right? I wrote my part, and I edited and I tweaked and I weaved everything else together. But more importantly, you get 15 different styles, and you get the unique personalities of each of these contributors that come through so brilliantly on television, and they come through brilliantly in the book too. And that's the beauty of it.
Well, and they obviously all had their own path and their own road and hiccups, but they all wrote it in a different way due to their own writing style, I'm sure. So you got the sense of each individual person as they're telling their story. And for me, I'm sitting there like, man, now I need to read the rest. Like, everybody here needs their own small autobiography that we all can tune into. Because as a sports fan, whether it be sports, any sport, even for sportscasting, you like those stories. I mean, some of your highlights you have with someone promoting for, Shaquille O'Neal's rap album, and people that were doing rodeos, and the one that I found was entertaining, we'll discuss it, is the Las Vegas prostitution sting. And and the name that belonged to that one was almost even more surprising to me. I hadn't even realized that. So in regards to the book, though, was there anybody that gave you more of a struggle in being able to get to participate that you ended up still getting? Or was there someone that you maybe were really aiming for and wasn't able to make that connection?
No, everybody who's in the book was all in. And look, there are obviously logistical issues. I mentioned, the plus side of not writing the whole thing myself is that I didn't have to write the whole thing myself. But the downside is there's a lot of logistics involved, and you're depending on a lot of very high profile, very busy people to essentially do their homework, right? If you say, hey, I need your chapter by this date, I need photos by this date, and they can't be these photos, they have to be these, and they need old ones and new ones. So there were a lot of hoops that they had to jump through and be willing to do it. So I won't say there wasn't a lot of prodding and reminding along the way, but none of them needed convincing to be in the book and to actually be in the product. I think that was the best part. And as far as those who I approached that did not participate, there was really only one reason. The success rate, my hit rate was fantastic. There were probably about 5 or 6 people who declined, and all of them did so for the same reason. Either they had already written a book, which was Linda Cohn, or they were had plans to write their own book, and they didn't want to put the stories out there in somebody else's book, which is obviously, the best possible reason. There wasn't anybody who said, yeah, I just don't think the idea has legs, I'm not interested. So, I could tell by the response, and even those who declined it, I could tell by the responses that we were kind of onto something here.
Well, yeah, I mean, who doesn't have their own story? I mean, even for people like myself and for Mo that have done this as our hobby and enjoyed being able just to be a fan as well as being able to cover some events that are locally or whatnot. I've had my own experiences where are funny stories or the hardships, or as a female being in a male dominated career, you have to deal with certain barriers and certain looks and certain comments. And I think that's all. I think every person has to have their own story, and there was plenty of them. So being that as it may, you have 15 people here that provided their own their ups and downs and their past and their careers. Is there one? I know that you've probably known some of the stories just from working with these people over the course of the year. Is there any individual stories that you were shocked by, or that you were just really took you for a loop by listening or hearing that story?
I tell you, there were very few details in this book that I knew before they submitted the stories. And even those of my closer friends from my ESPN days, I might have known, they worked in this place, but I had no idea what they dealt with in that place, right? I just, it's funny, you're surrounded by these folks, and you never really think to exchange stories with those who are, also have gone through it, right? It's the people who are outside the business who are always grilling you about, behind the scenes and what goes on in TV and how'd you get to where you are and that sort of thing. So there's very little in terms of the content that I knew. And that's why it was so much fun for me, because every time one of these contributors sent me a new file, it was like Christmas, right? I get to open it up and, they're all like 10 pages, 12 pages. So none of this is going to bog me down and take me months to read. Sure. You sit down, you read it, a half hour later, you're done. And it was so cool to put the stories with the personalities. And, you alluded to a couple of them, and, your jaw is on the floor, right? I mean, some of the stuff, and I think that's the beauty of it, is it's the confluence of the funny and sometimes laugh out loud funny anecdotes with the legitimate struggles and hurdles that we all had to go through along the way. And you really develop a sense of appreciation for, overcoming adversity and that sort of thing, which I think, we certainly have because we've gone through it. But I don't think many people realize exactly the level of crap you have to go through in order to get to an ESPN or a national television or radio to get to that level. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't fall out of bed. Maybe nowadays you can be a big influencer and they say, we want you and we're going to put you on TV. That wasn't the way it worked 20 years ago. I mean, you really had to take your lumps and pay your dues. And that's what the book is all about.
Well, and I know that, and we'll talk a little bit about the two women that are in the book, Heidi Watney and Jamie, is it Sires?
Yep, Jamie Sire.
Sire.
Yep.
I know that we don't, even for us, when we go out and cover some events, I've seen our own local sports teams who spoke for the different networks here. They're lugging their own stuff sometimes. Not only are you doing, as a woman, your own hair and makeup, you're carrying a tripod, you're carrying a camera. And like it's alluded to in the book, you're editing, you're writing the content, you're doing it in a time frame, all that. And not saying these people here now, but those that are starting out, they're doing it for free. And at the time, even in the 80s or 90s, they're doing it for like pennies, like $1 an hour and $2 an hour. And I know you had talked about your start in Panama City. You were working for free just to get the experience. So how are you making ends meet in Panama City? I mean, at the same time.
Right. Well, cost of living there's a lot lower, so you can get by on free. No, it was, look, my parents were my savior. And I think part of it was they believed in me and they were going to support me to the best of their ability. And if that meant footing the bills for a few months, in a new city, in a new, place to try and get this off the ground, they were willing to do it. The other part of the equation was probably it took me more than a year after graduating from Stanford, and I was still living at home, just treading water, trying fruitlessly to get somebody to hire me for an actual TV job, and it was just rejection after rejection after rejection. I think they just wanted me out of the house by that point, so they were willing. They were going to pay whatever it took to sort of get my career jump started. And thank goodness they were willing to do it, because otherwise this never would have worked, and I never would have been on SportsCenter, and I never would be sitting here, with you talking about the book. But the Panama City gig was essentially an internship, and I talk about this in the book. You can't work for free, right? It's not legal. But I essentially talked this news director into allowing me to move across the country to work in his newsroom, which was a Fox startup back in the day when Fox was barely even a thing. So they did like 5-minute news cut-ins every night at 6 and 9. It wasn't even like a full hour, half-hour
Right.
news. It was 5-minute newscasts. And the only way I was allowed to do it was to enroll at Gulf Coast Community College for 1 unit of internship credit. So I essentially paid my $100. I was technically a college student so that I could go work for free. And I knew that this was such a small time station that I would be able to, move my way up, and I'd be able to talk my way into doing some on-air stuff. And honestly, it took a week. I was an on-air reporter within a week. So I spent that summer of 1995, working as an unpaid reporter. The good news is, at the end of the summer, they started up a local morning show with a news cut-in, and they asked me to anchor the news in the mornings, which was a paid gig. So I graduated from no money to $10 a day, and that was my first paying job.
Wow.
Yeah. $10 a day.
Hey, I mean, like you said, at least you're living in Florida,
Oh, it was a blast.
and
It was an
you can't beat
blast.
that.
No,
You can't beat that.
I'm 24. I'm living by the beach. It's summertime. I mean, look, I had an absolute blast in Panama City, and it did what it needed to do. It gave me real material to go out and get an actual paid gig, and that was the next stop.
Right. Speaking about Heidi and her story. So
Yes.
I know she had that Fresno/San Diego connection where she was getting her start.
Yep.
I laughed. I literally laughed out loud when she had said that she was going off to her first, trying to get her first job and get her first foot in the door. And she said, "I'm armed with my resume, touting my nanny and lifeguard skills." Like, I think every woman out there has probably done something like that, where, and it shows that, maybe you didn't have the experience, but like it was, like she said, it was God's timing. She was there. She ran into the right person at the right time. And lo and behold, she gets her foot in the door. But of course, it's a rocky road to get to where they are now.
It is. She is, first of all, Heidi is a superstar. I mean, she's fantastic, and she's such a sweetheart. She's super talented, but she's such a genuinely nice person. And Heidi is the one person in the book that has absolutely no ESPN connection whatsoever. She's, everyone else either currently works there or formerly worked there. And Heidi, I met totally randomly. I was covering the A's-Royals wild card game back in, what was it, 2015? It's all running together. I can't remember. 15, 16. Anyway, sure. So I'm back in Kansas City, and it was happenstance, right? I don't know if you've ever covered, a major league playoff game. Basically, the reporters are all hanging out in the press box, and then right before the game ends, you want to go on the field and do your interviews. Well, you got to go and you wait in the tunnel, right? And the tunnel leads you out onto the field. So ninth inning, we're all sitting in the tunnel waiting to go do our thing, and the Royals tie the game in the bottom of the ninth. So all of a sudden, you're like, okay, crap, here we are. And picture like 50 media members in a very narrow, not high ceiling tunnel for 3 innings, waiting to be allowed onto the field. Couldn't go back, couldn't go up, couldn't go anywhere. You could barely go to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
But Heidi happened to be standing about 10 feet from me at that time. And so we just started chatting, and I knew who she was because I'd seen her on MLB and I thought she was great. And so, we just chatted her up, and that was the night that I met Heidi Watney. And that was enough, because when I came back to writing this book years later, I wanted to make sure we had some female representation, and she was one of the first people I thought of. So I reached out, said, hey, remember me? Here's the idea. And she has been the biggest champion probably of anybody in the book except for me in terms of promoting it and helping get endorsements. And she's just been so fantastic on so many levels.
I love it. And I also found it because she was talking about her time with in Central Valley. And this is 2005 when she was attempting to try and be a female sportscaster. And they told her that they don't think that the Central Valley was ready for a female sportscaster. And you think of 2005 and you're like, yeah, that was from now 16 years ago. However, 2005 wasn't that long ago in
No.
regards to women in media. So it was just kind of like, huh, okay,
Yeah.
like I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and she look, and she's had to go through a lot. Like I'm sure most females that have made it to that position, and even a lot who haven't, you've got to deal with things that the dudes don't have to deal with, right? And she writes about some of it, but there are a lot of things just in talking to her, right? Just you're a female and you're covering. I mean, she was at Nesson before she was at MLB, so she's been doing baseball forever. That's her passion. But she's covering the Red Sox, and she's beautiful, and
Yeah.
she's going to get asked out, she's going to get hit on, she has to deal with not only saying no, because you have to say no, but you have to do it in a way that doesn't bruise the egos and make these guys impossible to cover.
Oh, those
Oh,
man egos too. They
right.
sure are.
The athlete man egos, right? Even more so.
Yeah.
So she talks. I mean, she's mentioned stories about that, and handling, and Jamie too, just handling themselves in a locker room. It's a very delicate balance, and the players will test them, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
will test the female reporters, and I'm sure know this, and you probably dealt with this. Is that you've got to have a strong constitution to be a female in a
For
male locker room.
sure.
You got to deal with a lot, and once you get over the hump, especially if you're covering the same team with regularity, I think you're good, right? You're in the club, they
Right.
accept you, they embrace you, it's all good, and then they probably like you more than they like the guys. But you have to get over the hump, and you have to earn it probably more than the guys do, and both women.
Definitely, I think, yeah, more of the earning. And I think, it was fun to listen to, especially Jamie had talked about making $18,500 a year, and that she thought her younger sister, who she lived with, because they all still lived at home with their parents, was making more than her as a lifeguard back then. But
Right?
she really put it in with the words that she worked her butt off to get better. And I think that's a storyline through all of the stories, that people are putting in the work to make what they need to do to become a success, which all of them obviously have become successful. Is there anything in particular for women in journalism now that you're seeing in regards to the change of climate? And do you feel that it'll keep on going per se?
Everything is so different now. And that's whether you're female, male, black, white. Everything has changed, and I couldn't begin to try to tell you, the best way to get in the front door now, because it might be very different. I'm sure there are things that are, very much the same, but there's so many different outlets. I mean, look at you, look what you guys are doing here. I mean, the live streams, the podcasts, everything, the online availability, it's changed everything, right? I mean, you don't have to go to Panama City, Florida, or Kalispell,
Right.
Montana, or Kearney, Nebraska, or what to do what you're doing. You can get into sports media doing it differently. So everything has changed. I am not nearly the expert on the current, state of that as I probably am. Can tell you a lot about how it was 20, 25 years ago. But the parameters of being a female in a male-dominated world, I'm sure, have not changed. And
Yeah.
I would hope that I'm confident that the hurdles are less now than they were 20, 25 years ago, because it's so much more accepted. But it can't be universally accepted. I'm sure it's not 100% accepted, and I am quite sure that there's a whole lot of crap that the females have to deal with today still that they shouldn't have to, but they do, relative to the guys.
Well, there's definitely still the good old boys club. So,
Yeah,
I mean, you
for sure.
definitely see that wherever you go, any media box or media outlets or contacting people. I
Right.
know one of the girls had mentioned she had to send VHS tapes out. So now, yeah, we can send our links a lot easier and send a video a lot easier these days. But
Right.
it's definitely still an old, old boys club, and sometimes they don't care for change, and we see that a lot in some of the more older stubborn men, but we're breaking them down one by one. I know we've got a time crunch, but I wanted to discuss, because obviously Las Vegas is now becoming the sports mecca, and we've just announced that the Las Vegas will be hosting the Super Bowl in 2024. But one of the stories that I loved was there was actually one of these very big names who got his start in Las Vegas. And it started with this hotel prostitution story. Can you break down who that person was and what transpired?
Since you teased it, you're sort of leading me to it. I try not to give away too many of the real juicy nuggets, because that's one of the
Sure.
But you know what?
We're based in Las Vegas,
but
so we
you're in
kind of
Las
need
Vegas.
to,
I'll tell you, and this was one of I talked about getting these stories, these emails, and actually being like, oh my God, this is off the charts, unbelievable. This is the poster child probably for that. It's Kenny Mayne. And, he started in Las Vegas because he's from there. Or he went to UNLV, played football at UNLV, and actually talks about his very, very brief NFL career, which is pretty entertaining in and of itself.
Super brief, yeah.
But brief as in like hours, not months. But he was working for a PBS station in Vegas, and it wasn't a newscast, but I don't know exactly why. But they were doing some sort of expose under a prostitution ring, and they were trying to expose it. And they had Kenny Mayne, little cub reporter Kenny Mayne, undercover posing as a John, wearing a microphone, and like going up to this room with a alleged prostitute, as he says in the book.
Yeah.
And she saw the microphone and flipped and screamed and called him out and like ran him out of the room, and he's like running out of again, you can the book fills in some of the blanks.
Hilarious.
But like, this is the guy, and this is Kenny Mayne. Like, are you kidding
Yes.
me? This is how he got his start in broadcasting, right?
And people and all of my my football allegiance that I have need to also read the book, because I didn't know the story about his brief football career. So that was very entertaining.
Yes.
And also because it includes one of my most favorite players that has come from my team. So you have to check out this book. Real quick, any advice for those listening, watching, and kind of what can they do, or what kind of inspiration, what kind of dedication can you say to give these young people, or people that are just doing it now and want to get their foot in the door?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. The first piece of advice is don't do it unless you absolutely positively want to do this. You have to go through too much. There are too many sacrifices along the way to do it. If you think, that'd be fun. I think I'd like to be on TV. I don't know if I really want to go there. I kind of want to stay home. It doesn't work that way. You just can't, be from LA or Chicago and Philadelphia and just want to be on TV. You got to pay your dues. You got to be willing to move. I can always tell who's got a shot and who doesn't by that first answer, right? Are you willing to go anywhere? If the answer is absolutely, then we move on to the second piece of advice. And that is also quite simple. Get on air as much and as soon as you possibly can, right? It sounds obvious, but I can't tell you how many people have asked, like, hey, should I go to Norfolk, Virginia and do the on-air thing, or should I go to ESPN and work as a production assistant there so I can learn big time TV? And my response is 1,000 times go to small town Virginia. Right now, if you can't get the job, if you try for 6 months and you can't get an on-air job, and this is option B is an option, by all means, you'll learn a ton. It'll be great, but it's not getting you on TV any quicker. So that's my advice.
Awesome. Scott, where can people find the book? It's called When They Were Then Sportscasters. Where can they find the book?
Yeah, apologize. This is the proof, right? So not for resale. The one you buy is it's okay to resell. But yeah, it's called Where They Were Then Sportscasters. Amazon. Just go to Amazon, search the title, search my name. There's the spelling. It is, if you are a sports TV fan, or even just a fan of cool stories of overcoming adversity in a really tough environment and really tough career path, it's worth the read. It's fun stuff.
Awesome. Mo just popped on real quick, so we'll let her say hi to you before we say goodbye to you. So
hi and goodbye. Hi, Scott. I apologize. I missed a monumental moment here, but we'll have to have you back on again.
Yes. Congratulations on the book.
You guys let me know anytime. I'll come hang out and talk sports.
Yes, I'll have to do a one-on-one with you then.
We got to do some more questions. There's definitely more stories, but we want our listeners to get out there, grab the book. It's on Amazon. Hello, you guys. We know how much boxes we'd be getting during the holiday season right now. So get out there, get the book. Scott, thank you again so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye. Hey, Mo.
Hey, Mel. Hey, audience out there. I'm sure that was a great, epic interview. I'm so sorry.
Man,
it's the season.
Tis the season.
Yeah.
I mean, that book is definitely one that I'm grabbing. I was able to read some of the stuff about it and some of the stories. And not only are they great stories, but you really see how much struggle is in there for some of these people. I mean, me and you, we have fun. We enjoy this. We do this but those that are really young and they're getting out there and they're grinding hard, like you're hearing their real stories and how some of them made it. I know one of the guys had started like in NBC, like, working at the Letterman show in the elevator and, and selling souvenir goods at the NBC store on Sundays. Like it was just some of the odd jobs they had to make it to where they got to or where they're at now is just, it's unbelievable. So awesome stuff. Make sure Scott is also on Twitter at the Stanford Voice. So Stanford Voice, again, he is the play-by-play caller for Stanford Cardinals basketball and football. So make sure you tune in that. Of course, not my Pac-12 team, but I will support. Anyways, Mo, holiday seasons are upon us. Huh? You're busy?
Very.
She's like, yeah, I'm done.
Very busy. Tis the season.
I hear you. Tis the season. I did want to share, we'll play a quick video real quick because there was breaking news today. We had posted a couple of days ago that this might be coming to fruition. And of course, it was announced today.
It's coming. The greatest sporting event to the greatest arena on earth. More than the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl in Vegas. February 11th, 2024. The Super Bowl happens.
I mean, it's a good thing. It's a great thing for Vegas. It's going to be a wonderful event for Allegiant Stadium. Like I had joked to earlier in the show, I said there's going to finally be a championship team here in Vegas, albeit for a day. But hopefully maybe we'll get some of our other teams like the Golden Knights or the Aces to win a championship prior. But hey, Super Bowl in Vegas, this is definitely going to be different for, I know, us per se versus the All-Star weekend back in, what was that, 2001?
I want to say it was 2003 or 4.
Because that was insane. And I think hopefully Las Vegas will be more prepared and able to facilitate.
You'll never be prepared. You'll never be prepared for something like this. This is epic. This is another first time thing happening in our city. Yes, it's fast forward to previous times, but can never be prepared for a moment like this. I just say everybody just, get ready because it's coming 2024. You got 2 years to kind of prepare for this. So
I'm excited for because during the Super Bowl where the events are, they have like the whole Super Bowl not arena, but they have all the jerseys of every team and some of the memorabilia throughout the different Super Bowls and all the different attractions and games and things you get to see. And I'm excited to see all those things. Obviously, I mean, if someone wants to get me a ticket for the game, I'll take it. But I know those tickets ain't gonna be cheap.
No, they're not.
It should be interesting. That's for sure.
We don't know what COVID's going to be either in those next 2 years too. So it's going to be a different change. We'll see what the outlook of it looks like and how it's going to set up. And that will be an interesting factor to it all. I don't know. But I welcome it because hopefully tourists can get in and do their thing, I know they have the Raiders, Lombardies and all of that. I know that we're planning that before when we were talking Super Bowl, how they had like Raider stuff. So I think for the Raider fans, it'll give a good thing of, seeing that on display. Yeah. More so.
I mean, it's not like, it's going to get more people. People already come to Vegas for Super Bowl anyway. And that's where they come to hang out and party. So I can only imagine the extreme different. I mean, it's going to be crazy busy.
It's going to be like it's Miami. It's going to be like it's Miami, but even 10 times 10. It'll be like it's Miami 10 times 10.
let's hope this pandemic gets
But
over.
I hope that this pandemic is over by that time. Like, I hope it's not a new
Speaking
variant
of which, because the pandemic is really kicking some butt right now in the NBA and NFL, there's been players across the board with the COVID on the COVID list. I mean, even for you guys, your guys' Raiders Browns game is in lieu. Not to say nothing's been said as far as canceling it or postponing yet, but the Browns had I want to say 8 players or 14 players as of Monday. I think 5 or 6 of them were on the active the roster, including Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, the head coach, and even Baker Mayfield. Of course, I believe they all are COVID vaccinated, so they have to test negative twice to be able to play on Saturday. But when you're missing part of your team, and that's just for football. Basketball, the Bulls had to postpone 2 different games this week, Tuesday and tomorrow, just because of their issues with with COVID and the COVID protocols. I mean, you can't play any games when you're missing half your team in basketball. It's just you're unable to.
Well, it started with 7, then it went to 8. 7 was out. Then they announced the Thursday for you guys that you weren't having a game against Detroit. Right. And then the Browns, she said 11 started. Well, the head coach is also out too for the Browns as well. So I don't know. I mean, you're talking 11 players to over 30 roster replacements, that kind of thing. It's still up in the air for a Saturday game. All I can say is hopefully this gives us an advantage as Raiders to try to win this game.
Definitely.
This would be if we needed a scapegoat, this is the one. If they postpone the game, I don't know. It'd probably be an L. But the Saturday game, if it happens, this is an opportunity for us to try and catch a W that way.
Well, and I'm looking in the same aspect because the Rams have had also a COVID outbreak with them, and the Seahawks play them in LA this year or in this Sunday. So at least, if nothing else, it could be an advantage for us. We've already beat the Rams once, and with them having some of their star players out, would be beneficial for my team on Sunday to get that win, even though they had a tremendous win on Monday Night Football against the Cardinals, still missing a few of those players too. It's interesting, and we can only keep playing it by ear. I know there were meetings today between the NFL and NBA managers and owners in regards to what's happening out there. And I guess they'll be testing more and kind of testing those teams that have been heavily affected by the outbreaks, but it's still out there, guys, and you still got to be safe. Let me tell you about Belize. I was in Belize over the weekend for a long time.
Here we go.
I'm not. Jesus they have to.
I knew you were going to talk about this doggone trip you're going to throw in my face.
But listen, I'm not even talking about anything related to that. I'm about the vacation. I'm talking about these. They have to wear their masks outside. They get ticketed. When we would go by the courthouse on our drive every morning to get to where we're going, and there would be 20 to 30 people outside the courthouse waiting to address their tickets they received for not wearing masks outside. Could you imagine if something like that was in play here in Las Vegas? They also have police checkpoints to make sure that you're wearing your mask in the car if there's more than one person. I mean, they're taking it more seriously than some of those people here in Las Vegas. And you can kind of see the difference. And it was just crazy to me that, you're getting off a ferry and you're having to wear a mask on the ferry, and it's open air everywhere. But yes, you are definitely a little more protected out there. It felt like
you don't want to take out a whole culture of people. You don't want to take out Belizeans.
No,
you don't want to have them on a verge of extinction because the whole culture is wiped out. So they have to do what they have to do. Now, also, in Canada, in Toronto and stuff, they're dropping the capacity of attendees now to 50% for the basketball games, and in hockey because of the COVID outbreaks out there, the numbers are increasing. So they're tightening up again. So we always face in this wintertime season. It seems like how history repeats itself from last year. It's always an uptick because it's winter, it's colder, kind of thing. You got flu. And you got, now this Omicron or whatever. So we're seeing what's happening. But when you're going to Paradise Islands of culturals, like Dominican and places like that, of course you're going to want that. Jamaica, strict rules, all that. They don't want you taking out a whole culture of people. They don't want to be on a brink of extinction due to a virus, so they're going to be stricter. They're going to tighten up. They don't want To have Americans or foreigners or European, anybody that infiltrates that whole thing, I get it. I totally get why that.
At the same time, they're trying to have tourists come because COVID struck a lot of people out because of no tourism. That's how most of them make their money locally.
Absolutely.
We had a wonderful tour guide who explained a lot of different things for us, and it was crazy. It was just a lot. And but just be safe out there, guys. Like, still wash your hands. When I was in the airport in the bathrooms, I still saw people that were just walking out, and I'm like, how?
So did you have to test to leave?
We had to test within 96 hours to leave. But because of Biden's new policy, you have to test within 24 hours of your departure. So we left Tuesday, we had to test Monday and then get it cleared. So you have to test negative to get back in. And of course, the masks and everything else go along with it. But luckily, we played it safe. We did good, and we're back, and things are well. But yeah, it's interesting. For those that are traveling internationally, to please be aware of the new guidelines, because I think it had just changed this last weekend where you had to start testing within 24 hours to get back in the United States. Because if you don't, you got to either get one at the airport at a higher cost, or you're stuck and you got to get one later and change your flight. So it's a little bit of a mess, but it's still, people are still traveling, and that's just what it's going to be. I don't think travel will ever stop unless they start shutting down borders and stuff again. I know the UK and Europe has been going through it again. So we shall see how it goes. Yeah. What was the other? I think, and then also, of course, we have Saturday games. We are getting close to playoffs, and we're getting close to things happening, because I was struck off guard today when I was like, wait, there's a Saturday. You guys play on Saturday? I had no idea. We got 2 games on Saturday. You guys, your Raiders and the Browns, Patriots and the Colts. So for all our fantasy football people out there, because either you've already made the playoffs or you're in the hunt for the playoffs and your playoff schedule is going to be starting soon, make your lineups, change your lineups, because Saturday comes. You're used to making your changes for Sunday, and you got 2 games on Saturday with some teams that I'm sure you've got players on.
That is true.
Yeah. I know you don't want to talk much about your guys' game this past weekend.
I mean, we
are we on here? Because the Raiders have had that downward turn the last couple of years. They do well in the first half, and then they just take a dump. Do you foresee, is there a comeback? Should they be playing Mariota more? Is there more need for the team right now, or is it just Waller being gone? Or
we suck, Mel. Plain and simple.
Okay.
I mean, everything that you just said, I pretty much was going to say. You said it already. I mean, yes, Waller plays a factor. Yes, they should play Mariota more. Yes, they should do a lot of different things. But this is a team that has just faced so much in its season that I don't know how much more we have left to give, looking at the schedule ahead. Kansas City owned us that night. There was no way of getting out of that. Offensively, defensively, they owned us. And we basically saw it coming, but didn't know it was going to be as bad as it was. But it was pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was a pretty bad game. I didn't get a chance to see it because I watched some of it, and then I had the Knights game later on that evening. But it was a bad game. It was terrible. And we got Cleveland on Saturday, and like I said, if they foresee a loophole and a chance to win, this is our opportunity, because these are 2 back-to-back road games, and we go back home and play divisional games where we end our season with the Chargers. Yeah. Play the Broncos, then the Chargers. Yeah.
And the Chargers coming off a win too.
And Justin Herbert's just truly amazing. He really is. And speaking of which too, anybody interested, I know it's last minute, 1 ticket for sale for tomorrow night's game of Chargers, and who are they playing? I can't remember. Oh, Chargers and
the Chiefs in LA.
In LA. I have a coworker that has 1 ticket left.
Wow.
If you want a section for $160, not bad. I'll post it on the Girl Chat group.
Post it
I meant
on
to
the
do
Girl
that.
Chat.
She told me at work.
I wouldn't mind a trip to LA, but
she has 1 ticket left for tomorrow. $160 if you want to see Chargers Chiefs.
I just want to see the SoFi Stadium. And I wish I would have been able to get there this weekend.
It's all gonna be. Yeah, we all want to see SoFi. I think it's one of those things.
Maybe there'll be like a last minute road trip on Sunday for me to go catch the game, but I don't think.
Are you guys playing in SoFi? Oh yeah, because you play the Rams, right?
Yeah, on Sunday.
Hey, I say hit the road and go. Why not? Get a chance to check it out.
I mean,
This is the closest to the West Coast you're going to get. I mean, you guys play the Cardinals too, right? You guys have a coming game with them as well.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins, another one.
Out.
He's out indefinitely. We don't know. I have to change him up on my fantasy, but
right. Kareem Hunt too now is possibly, is doubtful to even play on Sunday.
I know. I got him in
Lamar Jackson with the injuries.
I got him. He's questionable too. I mean, it's a mess. It really
Aaron
is.
Rodgers, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is playing the toe factor to try and get people to, maybe think he's doing, not doing so well, but he himself said, the toe feels worse, after the Sunday Night Football win, but, he doesn't want surgery yet. And I'm just kind of like, if you're playing with this bad hurt toe and you're still playing like this, ain't nobody scared. Ain't nobody,
they're
thinking
positively.
I
flat out, they're winning the Super Bowl. I honestly believe it. If you want to play a ticket, play Green Bay to win the Super Bowl. Because I think that's where it's headed. The tide is turning. Green Bay's looking nice. New England's looking very nice. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a matchup from the AFC of
Tampa
Patriots and
Tampa
still in the
Patriots,
hunt too. But I don't see Tampa coming back. I see them in a divisional game against Aaron Rodgers, and I think Green Bay is payback. I think when you have a Milwaukee team win a NBA championship the previous year and a football team lose that previous year, that means this NBA championship team is not going to win this year, and then you have a Green Bay NFL championship team this year. So that's how the matrix works. That's how that matrix works. I'm telling you guys, if you want to put your money on something, it's Green Bay.
put it on them. It's going down.
It's too obvious right now. Like, I don't even know what the line is looking like for that, but that's what I think. I'm going to try it and see what happens. Because Cardinals are looking like how Bills look. They looked all undefeated all the way through.
Yeah.
That's the same scenario that's happening.
And that Monday Night Football game was great. Unfortunately, the Arizona just didn't show up until it was too late. And then they had 30 seconds left to tie it. And one thing about Kyler Murray, it's like he has like the quickest release I've ever seen on a quarterback. Like you think he's going to get stuck somewhere and he just like literally shoots it out. And I didn't even see the ball.
They literally had a minute left to play. And I'm like the announcers, kick the field goal. Try to gain possession back, because guess what? They did get possession back on an interception, and they did nothing with it because the clock beat them. Like, they just could not do anything.
Well, they had a bad, offensive holding call, which got them good when they had that great play, got brought back. I mean, it was terrible. But then again, Aaron Donald, with 3 sacks, you can't
listen. Defense.
If only he would have
Cooper Kupp, 16 catches. Anybody have him on his fantasy? I slept on that one.
I wish I would. He was gone before I tried for those
all
things.
Season. Yeah. He balled out, and he had 16 catches in that game. Incredible.
Speaking of balling out, Tyler Lockett had a great game on Sunday. He actually joins Steve Largent, the Hall of Fame Steve Largent, as the only Seahawks to have 1,000 receiving yards in 3 straight seasons. So that was amazing. Finally, Rashad Penny, the running back that we drafted 2 years ago, who has never really played much, got his first score since 2019. He actually had 2 touchdowns on Sunday, which was unbelievable. I wish I'd have picked him back up, because I had him and I dropped him because he wasn't doing anything. All the injuries, who knows? And of course, Tom Brady gets his 700th touchdown in winning the game in OT over the Bills. He also passed Drew Brees for most completions in NFL history. The Tom Brady news continues. It's always something. He's always doing something and beating somebody. I mean, you've been in the game this long, you're going to be breaking records and beating other people probably for years to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we'll break it a little bit into NBA now, because there was a magnificent thing that happened last night. Of course, we were all anticipating Steph Curry in his being able to surpass Ray Allen for the most 3-pointers in NBA history. And he did that last night in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. I'd caught it actually in the restaurant and watched it during our layover, which was dope. But I found this little thing that was dope. It actually shows all 2,900 whatever 3-pointers of him.
54-29.
Yeah.
54-29. pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. And it's just a lot. I mean, I can't imagine, but that's shout out to him. He gave the ball to his pops that was there on the court. Ray Allen was also there. Reggie Miller was there. So he had all the company with him, as I'm sure everybody knew what was going to transpire that game. Other NBA news, Zion Williamson is still not playing, continuing.
Yeah, he's a Jamarcus
being delayed.
Russell of the NBA. He's a Jamarcus Russell
Lord.
of the NBA, for real.
It's just too much.
He really is a Jamarcus Russell of the NBA. You literally took money with no intentions of strengthening, conditioning, getting physical, nothing.
And the delay in your rehab has to be your weight. I mean, what delay is happening? Because
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You're not doing what you're needed to do, or you're obligated to do for this team. You basically Jamarcus Russell the New Orleans Pelicans. You took a check, and you're not living up to the obligation of fulfilling what you need to do as far as your duties as an athlete and a player on that team.
Yeah,
that's it.
I feel bad for the Pelicans organization.
That's
it's
stupid.
Sad.
That is so stupid.
Yeah,
that's so stupid, and it's so whack.
It's a lot
stupid.
Of whack.
It's stupid. It's just whack. It's just crazy as heck. I mean, you basically Jamarcus Russell this whole team. Like you really took a check, sir, and not showing up for nothing.
Getting paid.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're the Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell did that with the Raiders. He took a whole check and never played, showed up, nothing. Like you're basically doing the same thing. You're not doing what you need to do. Like this is crazy.
Miss Bondi says the team claims he isn't healing up the way they want. He's not.
Yeah,
losing
they can
weight
save face because they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. I would make up an excuse saying that too if I was embarrassed that I had a star.
Or get him on keto or something because
lose weight, get physical, get in shape, and be ready for these games coming up.
It's just sad. Yeah,
I'd say
Luka's gonna miss some games. He's got some ankle soreness. It's like between injuries and COVID, it's like I feel like I get like 5 alerts a day with different players that are out or injured or sore. And I don't know. I guess it's just towards the end of football season. It's we're getting towards we're getting into the basketball seseason and people are
these players are just getting injured more. It's just crazy. I don't know if it's just food, diet, weather. I don't know. Muscle tissue. Like a lot of things we don't eat anymore that maybe we should be eating from the 80s as kids. I mean, maybe that's messing with us. I don't know. But these kids are getting injured, and they're getting injured really easily. And I don't know. It's unexplainable. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But it's happening.
Yeah. Congratulations to Candace Parker and her wife that I didn't know she was married to.
I didn't even know she was married to a woman. I had no idea. First of all, I didn't know she was married. Secondly, I didn't know she had a wife. Thirdly,
neither did I. Was like 2 years. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
So her and her wife Anna are expecting a baby. So congratulations to them. But yeah, had no idea she was married. No idea that it was 2 women. So hey, good for them, and may they have a happy, healthy baby. In regards to the Vegas Gold Knights, we are 17-11 right now. I know you went to one of the games. Was it last week or over the weekend?
That was this Sunday. This past Sunday.
Did they
played the Wild. It was a really good game. And shout out to my girl Christy, because those seats were so primo. If you ever sit in the loge section, not only do you have a $40 buffet of all you can eat there, not only do you have your own retail shop.
In what section?
The loge seats. They're the
loge.
So they're right off of the penthouse suites, but they're those loge seats. They're the ones that sit kind of like in the center, like kind of go halfway around the arena. They're great tabletops with a flat screen where you can watch any other game while you're watching the Knights game.
Wow.
They're like box seats. And you have your own lounge, your own bar, your own retail shop. You come in off of New York's parking to the 4th floor. You take that entrance in and that entrance only.
Right.
So you're not in the general masses of the crowd. And like I said, the buffet was primo. The pork loin was great. Shrimp was great. All of that food was great. Shout out to my dad, my brothers that were my guests and able to accompany us on a family night. We had so much fun. Gives you access to Jack Daniel's Lounge. Gives you access to pretty much everything. So Christy, my dear friend,
I love it.
Thank you so much. You are a true G for that. And she'll probably say, "What's a G?" Like I said that about one of my other friends.
That means you're a good,
great girl. You're a great girl. You're a great friend to have. And I that was one of the best little gifts, because she hadn't been going, and she's a season ticket holder, and she said,
Wow.
I've been giving them to my kids. It's your turn, Mo. You try them. And straight seat of 4 to our own private thing, and great view because we were right in front of the goalie, and so we could see Leonard play directly, and you get a good ice advantage of seeing everything. And the only thing I will say is it's super, super, super cold, colder than I've ever been.
Because you're closer to the ice.
Well, yeah, but even in the lower sections I've been in, I didn't feel as cold as I was in those low.
Not as many people by you for the body warmth.
That's probably what it is, because it's just the 4 of us in this box, and you have some people behind you and some in front of you, but it's so spaced out with the swivel chairs with the wheels on them.
Yeah.
Like you're pretty good, but it was funny. Sunday to see my dad bundled up with leather gloves on, watching the game, going to get hot coffee, coming back. And we missed our little last call because they told us they have a last call for the buffet and everything. They were like, last call is 3rd period. And my brother and I didn't put 2 and 2 together. And I'm like, let's go get a coffee. They had packed that stuff up real quick, like done. But amazing experience. If you ever get an opportunity, anybody out there in the audience get an opportunity to do Loge, that is the real deal.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for it. Also in the hockey news, the NHL All-Star fan voting has opened up. So go to nhl.com/vote. Of course, the 2022 All-Star game is here in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. Yeah, we're this new sports mecca out here. So All-Star February 5th is going to be here for the NHL, which I'm sure will bring out a lot of people as well. All the hockey fans will be coming this way. Can't wait for that. Another hot topic I forgot to mention was Dion Sanders, who had flipped the number 2 recruit Travis Hunter, who was supposed to be going to his alma mater of Florida State University, decided to change it up and head to go under Coach Sanders at Jackson State. So this is the first and only top 300 5-star recruit on ESPN's list that has decided to that chose FCS and HBCU. So
yeah,
look at Dion work.
That's what we thought would happen. Bring a star to an HBCU and you get star power and you get notoriety. Not only were they SWAC champions too, winning the SWAC championship, just to knock my little school out, but the not only for that, but you're getting all the notoriety of what Dion brings to that team and the staff and everything else. So that speaks high volumes, and I hope that sets a trend for more athletes to look into the HBCU spectrum, and not let it just be the legends that we've had of past, like a Doug Williams and that, So yeah, Travis Hunter, that was quite a coup. I'm sure people are mighty tight about it. I'm sure people
I've heard there's a lot.
You're mad, huh? Oh, you big mad. I'm sure they are big mad, but I'm just saying we winning right now. So shout out to all my other HBCU family members and everyone else that knows about how significant and how huge that is. No matter what the school is, that is a big freaking deal. And we are putting them,
they're getting publicity for the HBCUs, just like J.R. Smith, who, was proud to announce his 4.0 this semester over at North Carolina. Yeah.
But it's not even that. It's just, there's so much that is long overdue with us getting recognition for this, and people now understanding and knowing who these schools are and what they mean to the culture. And it's just like, it's a good day. But I know people out there, I know y'all big mad. I know y'all are, but that's okay, because we're going to still be shining bright. Y'all big mad, huh? Well, I'm sure.
Florida too. They got them real hardcore boys out
I'm
there.
sure they were tight. I'm sure Houstoners were like, we could have gone to FAMU. Clearly he could have, but he made his choice. Still in the SWAC. Like I said, they won the SWAC championship. Shout out to my boy, Big Draws, that is from JSU alum. A few other people, Brady and all those guys that went to Jackson State. Y'all school on the map. That's all I can say.
I know.
School is on the map.
Most definitely. I wanted to do a quick shout out to our friends over at the Beast Mode store here in Las Vegas in the Mandalay Bay, the shops Mandalay Bay, because we've got a great meet and greet, no autographs, photos only at the Beast Mode store here at the Mandalay Bay shops. This is going to be next Tuesday, the 21st from 2 to 4. Marshawn Lynch, Darren Waller. I think it's Max Crosby too. So
Mad Max. All right. That's a good trifecta there.
And get some of that beast mode stuff, man. I swear the beast mode store, I'd be loving some of that
they
gear
have some
too.
great merch. I'm due for a re-up on that for sure. Boy, if we only had a young Lynch out there. That whole 3 that you just mentioned, if that was active for today, man.
You'd have that game on Saturday.
We'd have a squad. Man, we'd have a squad. One can dwell.
And for some girl power, I just wanted to highlight this young lady who I posted on the group earlier, Kristen Hayden. She becomes the first Black woman to win the U.S. national senior title in diving. She and her partner Quinn had won the mixed synchronized 3 meters on December 13th. She also I believe she's at Indiana University, and she's going to be the first Black American diver that earned a bid to the World Championships in May in Japan. She's also the founding member of USA Diving Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. So she's only the second. They said that she joins Mike Wright, who as the only Black divers to win U.S. national titles. He won it back in 2012.
Who says we can't dive and swim? Who said that?
3 meters? 3 meters?
Black women, we women right now. Black people, we are winning right now. I need all us Black folks to recognize game. We are winning right now. We need to win on other things, but we winning right now. And I'm so proud of this sister because being a swimmer and growing up with a pool, I mean, you love to see it. I'm all good on the front dive. I've tried the back dive, but just to see someone that's in that competitive to break what, girl, this is years ago. I doubt I can even do that now. I know I can't, but I'm still a decent swimmer because I was blessed with that notion of always wanting to swim and be a fish out of water. So to see a sister like that doing what she's doing, I mean, that's just warms my heart. It really does because we could do it all. Shout out.
And one other shout out to Juliana Pena, who defeated Amanda Nunes at UFC 269. Listen, she surprised the world.
Amanda
she snapped Nunez's 12-foot. She snapped her 12-fight win streak. 12 fights straight.
Amanda didn't train for this fight either, and that's the problem. You get popular.
You can't light up.
You win these fights and you think that you got it. You don't think you have to train as hard as you did for the next one and the next one and the next one. And you take your foot off the gas. And we knew someone was going to beat her. We just didn't know who. Right. And that happened over the weekend. And I still think the Lioness is still truly the Lioness. I still think she's a beast. I'm not going to take that away from her. But admittedly, through sources, she did not really train for this match like she should have. Not going all in.
But and it also just shows that the competitiveness in MMA now for females. I mean, we also thought that there was going to be no one that was going to beat her at some point because there was no competition out there still. She had beaten all the competition already. So it shows that there are more women out there that are getting in.
They're women fighters. They just need the opportunity. And the thing of it is when you're looking at that, you have to look at UFC and their contract. You've got females in the MMA, but are they willing to fight for the contract? The contract is not pay is not good. You know what I mean? And they want the money too. Lioness got her back for that too, by the way. But there's a big disparity when these women come into fights. And we'll have to have our girl Cassandra come on and talk more about it. But it's big disparities when people are entering in a competition. So it's not like they're not out there. It's just that they've got to get that exposure and get the money that goes with it. And hopefully with this recent win, there'll be more to come out and be competitive. But the Lioness will be back. I don't think that she's
I know she already wants a rematch. So
absolutely. Yeah. She's gonna bring it too. And if she wins this rematch, then it's all telling that we know what she did. She needed to do this match that she didn't do the last match. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's get into some sneaker drops. I know we mentioned them a little before, but the week is upon us, so I wanted to reiterate to those out there. Of course, I love these. It's the Element, the AJ1 Gore-Tex. These are weatherproof, y'all. The sale comes out tomorrow. I'm gonna try for that one.
The bubblegum ones come out tomorrow too. I just entered the drawing for those this weekend.
I think the bubble ones come out next week.
No, it's this weekend. The women's AJ1 bubblegum with the purples.
It says the 22nd. I don't know.
I entered the drawing for this weekend.
It might be a drawing or might be like a release on the sneakers app. I know that they actually release, I think, on the 22nd. It could be a drawing maybe or
No, the drawing was today. So the release is this weekend for sure.
Well, the drawing was today, but you can pick up this weekend, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
The drawing was today. It drops this weekend.
But they were getting released on the app on the 22nd.
No, I think they're going to change that. You better watch it because I think it changed.
Okay, I'm going to keep an eye out because, them bubble gums are nice.
I don't think it's,
Super
I like
nice.
those. I entered the drawing today. So usually when you do a drawing this early, it's this weekend. They don't let a drawing go a whole week out.
Well, I entered the drawing for these ones today. Yeah, the Retro OG, the handcrafted, these are released this week on the 18th. These will be out. We've also got the Dunk Low. These are the championship goldenrod. These come out tomorrow for all those loser Steeler fans. No, I'm just kidding. Steelers. If you haven't watched the new Gridiron Heights, I retweeted it on our Twitter page because it was hilarious. So check that one out. You've also got the Dunk Low Women's Primal White and Primal Pink. These will be out next week on the 22nd as well. And one that I just saw that I had never seen before, I know your mids. Mid SE is the Women's Light or Wood. These were kind of interesting. They got that cream in them, which was kind of interesting. So those all come out in the next week. But I'm definitely keeping an eye on for that bubble gum because that'll be interesting. I want to know. I think see that
weekend. I don't know if they do a drawing that early.
I don't know, but that's what the app says. Like Jordan.
Yeah, I'm not going off a sneaker app. I got notification through Chic, and I just entered the drawing for Chic and Feature. Feature dropped their drawing for it today, as well as Chic. But I don't know. They're not affiliated with sneakers, so it's a whole. I don't know. Maybe it's
right. Well, I know, like even for like the patent leather AJ ones that are supposed to release on the 30th, that got delayed as far as the drop. But I know there's still stores that are getting them. So there's a whole mix of all these people doing whatever.
Those cool grays I missed out on. I mean, it's mattering now at this point. You know, I overslept once again, and cool grays slipped right.
I even tried while I was out on vacation. I tried, but that didn't happen.
I mean, it's not working through. You really, literally have to know somebody at a store. You really have to go to the store and get a connect to get us these sneakers.
I know,
because the sneaker app is just not where it's at. They think they controlled it. They didn't do anything but make it worse.
Ugh, all them bots, man.
The hunt is just ridiculous now. And these young Tito's that are now wanting to be sneaker aficionados just because of popularity.
And you can buy bots. I don't even understand this stuff, but you can buy bots and put those bots to work for you.
Yeah, was able to buy bots, but I just never played that game because I still had the option of standing in a line and getting a ticket. Yeah. And going in and getting my size and they bring it out to me. I still had that option. Now, like you get so lucky even if you get pulled on a drawing. Even the drawings are rigged. It's like, oh my God. You can't win anywhere.
It's very discouraging. Yeah.
It really is.
So last week's pick'ems, I won 4-1. But you are still overall leading at 6-5-1. Congratulations, Mo. We got a whole weekend full of football because there are no buys, I don't believe. And,
no, I think everybody's back. The bye weeks are over.
Yeah. So we start off with Thursday. We got the Chiefs, of course, at Chargers. Like your girl is selling one of her tickets for that game. Even though the way the Chiefs played y'all, I just feel like, they're back. And even though Herbert's been doing well, I'm not sure he can.
I mean, obviously the Chiefs are killing it, so it makes no sense to even rationalize that pick. It's definitely
like you just can't stop between Travis Kelce is just like, I don't even know. No one can stop him. Like there's no stop for him. It just doesn't happen. So Saturday's games, remember we got games on Saturday. We got the Raiders at Cleveland. Assuming that there might be some players out,
They got players out and a head coach. I'm going to pick the Raiders. Possibly the Browns will still pull it off because it's in the dog pound. But I'm going to go ahead and just pick my Raiders just because of these.
I'm with it.
Special loophole.
Those special loopholes exactly. The Patriots at the Colts. This is going to be a good game.
It's going to be an excellent game, and I'm going with those Pats. Yeah. Mac Jones and Belichick can't lose right now. They're on fire, and they're leading in their division right now, out of nowhere.
I know. Well, I've been watching this Hard Knocks in season, and these Colts, they really are. I mean,
they're good. It's good. That's a great matchup. But I'm rolling with these. I hate the Patriots too, but I'm gonna roll with them. I got to be real.
I'm gonna go with the Colts. I feel like even though it's not an upset, really, I think the Colts can do it, especially at home. Like they almost beat the Bucks at home.
Yeah.
I mean,
sadly, almost doesn't count. But they do have a chance. It's not like they don't have a chance, but the Patriots are just too on the second end of things, and they're just on a roll.
We got the Cowboys at New York Giants. Shout out to Stephanie because she was in the comments earlier, and of course, want to talk about Micah Parsons, who has had his 12th sack in his rookie season. He is pretty unstoppable as well. Dallas, of course, won last week, and go to New York to play the Giants, who are the Giants.
I'm picking the Giants because I hate the Cowboys. I mean, realistically, I think the Dallas Cowboys can win that game, but I'm picking the Giants because I hate the Cowboys. It's so simple.
I just need them to start losing something because Washington can win the division. If Washington wins the division, I'll be happy. That's all.
Well, Washington can win their game if who they playing this week when we get to it.
They play Philly, which they should be able to win, but it's going to be a tight game.
If they do that and Dallas loses, it's a wrap. Like that's what I want to see. So I'm going with the Giants on this one.
All right, let's go Giants. All right, we've got the battle of the bottom. The Texans at the Jaguars.
Oh Jesus, that's the worst game ever on both ends.
I'm only going with the Jaguars because they're at home, and that's really about it. I mean.
I'm going with the Texans just to see if they pull it off.
Just to do it. We got Tennessee at Pittsburgh. Stephanie, I know. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Oh my God.
Tennessee at Pittsburgh. The Steelers are they're non-existent.
Both dysfunctional.
I gotta go with Tennessee. I don't see Pittsburgh getting any more, if nothing. I
don't know. These games end up going into overtime, and then Pittsburgh ends up winning off of a fluke. I don't know.
Well, would you like to go for Pittsburgh?
I guess I'll just do that just to see. Either team I don't want to pick, honestly. That's where I'm at.
Get the New York Jets going into Miami. Miami's done all right. I mean,
Miami's defense is ridiculous right now. Miami's line, I
just picked them up in one of our leagues.
I just picked them up too, so I'm going with Miami. I'm rolling with the Dolphins. I just used them as my defense for the fantasy league. I need to. Their defense is on right now, and they'll be on against the Jets, so I think they'll win that game.
Yep. Got the Washington football team at Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'll take the WFTs this time.
I'm going to take them too. The Cardinals enter Detroit and hit up the Lions. I mean, I don't think
no D-Hop. Lions had a
but no D-Hop. I mean, James Conner was going off. I mean, there's just not.
They're playing in cold weather. That's the only thing.
The Lions are indoors, aren't they? Isn't the Lions Stadium? Isn't their stadium indoors? I think so.
Is it? I didn't know. I never watched their games. I don't know.
Packers is outdoors. Bears is outdoors.
Lions are indoors.
Vikings is indoors. Lions are indoors. So I don't know.
Maybe Arizona then. We'll go Arizona.
Carolina at Buffalo. Listen, not only your team is sinking, but the Bills. They be sinking too.
But Carolina didn't win last week either. So
Carolina did not win last week.
They're a mess. I mean, like I said,
the Falcons beat them.
Yeah, I think I picked the Dolphins last week.
Cam got benched again too.
Of course,
yes. Lions are in a dome.
They told him the last week before. What did he?
So this could be Buffalo's game, huh? I'll give it to him.
Could be, but will it be?
I don't know.
We'll go with them and see what happens.
All right, Cincinnati at Denver. The Bengals were starting something, but just started.
I gotta pick the Bengals because I don't like Denver. You know, if we're not winning, I don't want anybody in our division to win. But somebody's got to win. But I'm just gonna go with the Bengals. The Bengals are banged up too. I'm just gonna pick them just because.
I'll go with Denver just because. Just to pick opposite right now. We've got the Falcons coming to San Francisco. Let's go, Falcons.
Yeah. 49ers definitely are going to win that. That's just obvious. But I understand your method because the NFC West.
You know, Seattle at the Rams this weekend. I got to go with my team. I feel like it can be done. But stopping Aaron Donald is a real issue, and us having a terrible secondary.
That was his first breakout in a long time. He
Cup,
don't do that again.
And
I'd be more threatened by Cooper Kupp than I would be Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald hadn't done that in a while. That was like a real shocker for us to be like, oh, because I literally was like, oh, Aaron Donald's still there. Okay.
Right.
But so I hate to do this. I want your Seahawks to win.
You gotta go.
I want your Seahawks to win. Will they win is the question. So I'm going to have to go with your Rams.
I hear you.
I mean, I want them to win, but the Rams are it's a no-brainer. I'm sorry.
So we've got the Packers in Baltimore this Sunday. Of course, Lamar is questionable, but they're hoping he plays.
Man, if he goes down again,
plays or not,
I get 4 points, man. And I'm going with Green Bay. I'm sorry. Toe jam or not, I'm going with Green Bay.
I would take him out the lineups if he's in your fantasy.
They don't. Who's their backup? And it makes it no better because my backup for Lamar Jackson on my fantasy for that one is Teddy Bridgewater. So I can't win either way. Either one. It's a mess. But I'm going with Aaron Rodgers on this one.
Yeah, same. We got the Saints in Tampa Bay.
Saints are my second team, and I love them so.
Yeah, but man, Tampa, like
I know.
I got to go with the Bucks, even though after a week with Natalie, I'm tired of hearing about the Bucks, Tom, Patriots, all that. So
I can only imagine. I can only imagine how that was.
Let me tell you about the sports. I wouldn't even
imagine it because I'd be just like this.
Listen, we went to a bar, and so that was Sunday Night Football game. When they won in overtime, Natalie went crazy. The only person in the whole bar. So everybody's looking at her. And then she explains, my team just won. It's Tom, baby. It's overtime. And the next thing you know, the whole bar and restaurant stopped clapping for her.
She should get one of those split jerseys that one of the fans have, where it's the 12.
Well, she said she's not a Bucks fan. She said she's just a Patriots
but she's a Tom Brady fan, so she gets the Tom Brady jersey with the split jersey of the 12 and 12.
She's got a T-shirt like that. Yeah.
She should do that. She really should. Because you're either going to be Tom or you're going to be Patriots. Like, what is going on?
She's Tom and Gronky, she says.
Well, they go to the Bucks. They both play on the Bucks. I don't understand what this madness is right now. Like, I don't understand. It's okay. A lot of fans follow their players to whatever team they go to. That is considered the norm now. It is socially acceptable in the world of sports these days. Just do it. You playing head games with two doggone teams.
I know.
And it makes no sense. So anyways,
all right, I'm going with the Bucks.
I'm gonna pick the Buccaneers too. I love my Saints, but I got to be real too.
We got Monday Night Football, the Vikings at the Bears. Guys, this is
Bears
4 days of football.
Bears started so well against Green Bay, and I knew that wasn't going to last.
They tried. They tried.
I feel like they do have an opportunity this time for the Vikings, possibly. So I'm going to pick the Bears. And we'll see where it goes with that. But Bears too end up being Bears as well.
Yeah, it's that. I'll go with the Vikings just to play the other side. You never know what happens with Kirk Cousins. You never know which version you're going to get or what's happening with the Vikings. If they get lucky, if they don't, we'll see how it goes.
I'm just going to take them and see what happens. It's basically watch what happens week.
Man. It really is. It really, really is. Anyways, you guys, that's our show. Again, thank you to Scott Reiss, his book. It was great to chop it up with him. It's really interesting to read it, and we'll have to get people to let us know if they get the book and read it. When they were...
we'll post the link on Girl Chat's group. We'll post the Amazon link for you to make your purchase.
For sure. Yeah. Maybe we can have a reading club of the book. I don't know. When they were then Sportscasters, former ESPN anchor and current voice of Stanford Athletics. Thanks again to Scott Reiss. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Mo, thanks for joining in on me. I appreciate you. Sorry work has kept you busy, but hey.
Tis the season, man.
This
is what it is. These folks are not letting down.
You guys, Christmas is next weekend. I can't believe this year has already flown by. We have little over a week to go before the big holiday. So
Get
It
your
is what it
shopping
is.
done. No 25th
Get your
hour.
shopping
Everybody
done.
get
I
their
heard
shopping
there's
done.
delays of all kinds in shipping and mailing anything. So if anything fails, gift cards.
People are literally throwing boxes of packages out of their trucks. They're throwing their packages are going missing. Packages are taking longer. Weather delays, factor all of that in. We just had a big tornado, so that affects some of the shipping in certain places.
Yep.
So just do the best you can. But trust me when I tell you, I have everything I need. I do not want for nothing else except good health and love of my family and friends. Don't give me anything, Mel, and that includes you. Don't buy me anything. I don't want anything from anybody. I'm literally purging stuff to this day because I have too much stuff. And that is usually a blessing and has turned more into a curse. I do not want anything except friendship and love and happy tidings. That's it.
Okay.
All right.
All right, y'all. We appreciate you.
I had to make
we'll
that public
see.
service announcement.
Okay. PSA. I get it.
Too much.
We appreciate everybody. Make sure you follow, subscribe to Girl Chat Sports on all social media and on YouTube. We will catch you again next Wednesday.
Peace. Yes. And I'm wearing my ugly sweater. It's Ugly Sweater Day, audience. Wear your ugly sweaters in solidarity.
Yeah,
We're wearing our ugly sweaters.
Yeah.
Wear your ugly sweaters in the Festivus Christmas Hanukkah spirit. Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye, y'all.